Hello and welcome to Budget Model Railways, and tonight we have an update on my N-Gauge, effectively model train set layout. So this you will have seen in an earlier video, the bottom layer, where I took a track plan by Cyril Freezer, one of his very early ones for a very simple 00 train set kind of layout, and I've done it in N. And the nice thing about N is it only takes 3 feet by 2 feet. So it's got all the compactness of his original plan, but it works even better in N. It's built on a floating shelf that I got very cheap from my local tip shop. And the idea of this track plan is quite simple. You have a siding here which you can run passenger trains in my case it will be EMUs. And you have 2 goods sidings, which means that you can then store and of course shunt in there with your goods train, because this running road will act as the 3rd road for an inglenook. So you can shunt to your heart's content. When you're finished, loco and everything goes back in here, and then you can run your passenger train round. Have an island platform there with the station in here, and then this then is a 2-road passenger train. Don't need a fiddle yard at the back. There was originally a point, but I can't get to it once I've put the higher layer on. If you want to put anything on and off the track, you can use the front road. Works really simply, and it's all Pico set track. This is just first radius, nice and easy. So the top though is a little bit more complicated. So that's obviously got to use flexi track. This is the same 3 feet, but it's only 12 inches across. So we're back to using minimum flexi track, which we know that the Kato Pocket Line will take. So this part of the layout has been made especially for Kato Pocket Line. But it's a very similar idea. We have 2 goods sidings here, which means that I can run a good train and store the goods train there. The little tram, which is the main passenger train, can live in the passing siding, and there'll be a station here. So that's 2 trains I can run, and then I've added a little siding at the back where the excellent little Pocket Line steam train can go. So I can run 3 trains and pick and choose as I want to run them, or I can keep 2 in place and I can shunt with my goods train. And it'll pull about 4 or 5 wagons quite happily around those tight curves. Now this is built a little bit stronger than I would normally do, because what I did is I actually used hardboard, because that's all I'd got, to put the flexi track on. I had to do it separate because the pins went through and I had to cut the pins and things like that. Obviously hardboard's not very good in itself, it's too flexible. So it needed fairly extensive supporting underneath. But the advantage of using timber is it's a set height. Normally I would use foam board and stuff like that, but I hadn't got any. But I had got a load of this, which is effectively almost 2x1 line around. So there's a lot of that under there, which means it's supported. But it's very solid, but actually because this is so light, the baseboard is so light, it doesn't really matter that the top is a bit heavier. And that's as far as I've got with it, because I've got the track plan down. At the moment, I haven't really got any ideas what I'm going to do scenically. I've also not decided yet whether I'm going to ballast the track or not. At the moment, it's on roofing felt. I like the look of the ballasting on the last layout I did, but I've got to be honest, it's caused real reliability issues. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points on this, and the chances are one of those points is going to be thrown up by ballasting. So at the moment, I'm probably going to leave it as roofing felt ballast mat. But beyond that, I haven't really got any ideas whether it's going to be town or rural or whatever. But it would make quite a nice exhibition layout. Now, Doug's 3D printed me a new slimmer line, smaller double controller that will sit there so that I can run both tracks. At the moment, they're tucked underneath. This is just supported on a couple of plastic sawhorses, again, that came from the tip. So it would make quite a nice exhibition layout, possibly for next year. Just to show what you can achieve in quite a small space with N, rather than being one of these novelty in a suitcase N-Gauge. This is quite nice. And as you can see, I can get quite big locos around the first radius loop. The good thing with the Kato in particular is because in Japan they have small layouts. There's none of this large locos only being able to do 2nd, 3rd, 4th radius nonsense. You can get extremely large diesel and electric locos round first radius with Kato. So I'm planning to run some fairly big ones, and obviously I'll have the impressive 3-car DMU. So I'm quite pleased with that. It works quite well, gives me a lot of operating potential. You basically got 5 trains that you can run on there, which would work well again for an exhibition, because you could chop and change. So there we go. Be interested to know on your thoughts for that. Be nice to have some suggestions on what I could do with it. I mean, there's obvious things like scenery through here. There's going to be a good shed here and a station. A bit of a hill down the bottom corner for the controller. I know there's got to be a small station there and a small goods shed at the other end. Do I hide this behind scenery, or do I make it part of the layout and have a smaller hill perhaps at that end? So there's lots of potential here. Just at the moment, not got a lot of ideas for it. So let me know what you think. Thank you as always for watching, and we'll have another video update soon.